We keep talking about talks. Maybe at this point, we're just having the two sides kind of throwing more barbs at each other. Is there a danger that we're actually going to see this potentially escalate into a full-blown trade war?
Absolutely. As you say, we're having talks about talks, different news stories saying they're near talks, other ones saying they're not so near talks. But at the end of the day, for China, China really has no negotiating partner in the US because the US administration is still split. You have to go to Trump. You can't go to Trump until you're at the end of the sort of negotiation, as it were. So it's very hard to see how it starts. Now, there was a point in time, I think a few months ago, where everybody said Trump would back off before the November midterm elections. It doesn't look like that now. And that means the $200 billion worth of goods which are targeted for tariffs really come into play.
Right. It's been interesting. We've had quite a few guests coming on, saying that President Trump will be looking for a win before the midterms, that President Xi, with his consolidation of power that has been so well documented, is in a really secure place. I'm reading a lot of stories and essays, I think you know the essay I'm talking about, that suggest that President Xi is actually, with the economic slowdown, with the declines we've seen in the yuan, in the stock market, with the vaccine scandal, that he's actually in a more precarious place domestically than maybe we've been looking at. Is that the reading that you take?
I do, but it's very hard to judge and it's very hard to calibrate. I just spent 2 weeks in Beijing and myself, and that was the sense I got, the start of people beginning to articulate a pushback against Xi. Now, that doesn't mean his position is he's not in trouble, he's not going to lose his job or all that sort of thing, but we might have reached peak Xi Jinping, as it were. In other words, it's gone far enough and people are wanting to find issues to criticise him over. There's many of issues like that. One of the most interesting, though, is Trump and the US relationship. Now, Xi Jinping is not responsible for Mr. Trump's negotiating style, to put it kindly. But in politics, that doesn't matter. So many people are using that to blame Xi Jinping for messing up China's most important bilateral relationship, perhaps imperiling parts of the economy at a time when the economy is slowing, and causing all sorts of other trouble for China around the world, potentially. So Trump is a complicating factor for Xi Jinping at a time when
it's not the easy nationalistic spin that you might have expected. We've seen that playbook with Korea, with Japan in the past.
Well, it's not so easy to sort of control the US. It's not so easy to control Trump. And also, the US, China needs the US just as the US needs China. They can't afford a fracture and they don't know how to handle Trump. I think the big light went off in their head about 2-3 weeks ago, just when the first batch of tariffs started, and immediately Trump re-announced the $200 billion target. And I think that really galvanised China, shocked them a little bit, and they're really girding their loins for a much longer fight now.